Good morning and welcome to Newswatch Today. I'm Summer Ottershot.
And I'm Raylan Lakatos. This morning, Turkey suffers the aftermath of an earthquake.
Also, the world is facing an increasing fungal threat.
Cameron Lee is here with your forecast, and Emmeline Perkins has your latest sports news. This is Newswatch Today.
Thank you for joining us this morning. It has been a pretty rainy days the past couple days.
Well, not only has it been rainy, but the weather has just been so bipolar lately. Right now, we have Cameron Lee to give us the first look at weather.
Well, you're spot on with that rain. Thankfully, we don't have to expect it today. It's just going to be really, really windy. 36 degrees currently, but 51 later, so it's going to warm up just a bit. But winds at around 18 miles per hour, so don't fix your hair because there is no point to that. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cameron. I guess we'll know more in a little while during your full forecast.
Sounds like a great day ahead. Looking forward to some slightly warmer temperatures.
On Monday, Turkey and Syria both got rocked by a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. The earthquake has reportedly killed over 11,000 people, and it is believed that tens of thousands of others have been injured. Due to the timing of the earthquake and being in the morning, many people were in their houses when the quake hit, leaving them trapped under the rubble of their houses. Another factor in the severity of the earthquake was the cold, wet weather system that moved through, which made some places hard to reach and bitterly cold. There's fear that due to the rain and snow on the way, it will leave the people who have already been going days without food and water also at the risk of hypothermia. Your favorite zombie show is inspired by real events. Well, at least to some extent. The HBO show, The Last of Us, is based off of the fungal species Ophiuriasordireps, which will infect insects but will not harm humans. However, there is concerns that the threat of fungal pathogens will continue to increase, and while there are around 4 million fungal species and only about 300 can cause disease in humans, they still kill about 1.5 million people every year, with little to no treatments available. They say the people most at risk are those with underlying health conditions, so take caution.
U.S. fighter jets shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon over the Atlantic Ocean on Saturday. Sailors from a Navy explosive disposal team are gathering debris from the deflated balloon and sending it to an FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia, for analysis as the U.S. looks to understand the capabilities of the balloon. U.S. officials have been tracking the balloon for several days by the time it appeared in the skies over Montana. However, due to the risk to civilians and property on the ground, the U.S. military had to wait until it was safe to shoot the balloon down. Nonetheless, maximum precaution was taken to prevent China's ability to collect intelligence. On Tuesday, Zoom announced that it will lay off about 1,300 employees, or approximately 15% of its staff, becoming the latest tech company to announce significant job cuts as a pandemic-fueled surge in demand for digital services wanes. In a letter to employees, Zoom's founder and CEO said that all parts of the organization will be impacted, including executives. He and other higher-ups will take major pay cuts and forego this year's bonuses. The CEO is taking a 98% pay cut himself. Shares for the company went up nearly 9% in midday trading after the announcement about the layoffs. Next, here is Evan Espinoza on how last week's snow days have affected academics here on campus.
Missouri's somewhat bipolar weather, whether it's a wintry mix or freezing rain, can often lead to a city-wide anticipation of a snow day. We asked Pipkin Middle School teacher and Evangel track coach Grant DeWitt how snow days impact him in the classroom.
Well, snow days in a school district can throw things off in a number of ways because when we plan our curriculum, we're planning things out on a daily basis over the course of months. And so when you get to January and you have 4 days in a row that are just all snow, it can throw things off because you're behind your schedule that you've set for yourself and that you've been following throughout the entire year.
But when it's time to pick up the whistle, Grant must plan how to train his athletes given the hazardous conditions outside.
When temperatures get below freezing, it's typically not great for muscles to be exposed to that cold weather, especially with how high the volume is of our training program. So what we do is we'll modify workouts and put athletes on a treadmill and try to get them to give a high quality effort and go through a high intensity training program inside.
On the flip side, snow days can often lead to much needed relaxation and productivity for many students such as Seth Batten and Gabe Wilson of Evangel University.
One of my favorite things to do is play ping pong. I love playing with Seth in the second floor lobby. We play like all the time, but especially during the snow days, just because we have all the extra time.
I sleep till like 1 p.m., so I only have like half the day, but it is what it is. I stay up till like 3 a.m. on snow days, so it equals out.
As you can see, snow days often put a dent in productivity for teachers, professors, and athletes, but oftentimes students get a very restful time to have fun activities with friends, but also catch up on schoolwork. With Newswatch Live, I'm Evan Espinoza.
Thanks, Evan. Up next, we'll be talking with Christy Enzinger about her upcoming event.
This and more when we get back after this break.
To page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that I would never be able to get over it and that my kids wouldn't have a father. I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. For the longest time, fear held me back from ultimately being who I wanted to. I had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
Thank you. Did you see anyone's broccoli? You moved this? Thanks for helping us. No problem.
You're welcome. We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets you're planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Evangel University has received a $2 million challenge grant from J.E. and Ellie Mabee Foundation toward construction of the Valor Center, which is the maximum grant level awarded by the Mabee Foundation. The Valor Center is a 70,000 square foot arena and training facility on the north end of EU's campus and is one project included in EU's Here Now campaign. Nearly $16 million has been raised in support of several building projects on campus, including the complete renovation of Walther Hall, a residence hall, and the installation of a lighted turf intramural field. Summer Radershot is standing by with a special guest. Summer?
Thanks, Raylan. With me today is Christy Enzinger. She is the wife of Mark Enzinger, the Vice President of Student Development, so she has been a part of many events here on campus. Christy, thank you so much for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
So it is your first year here at Evangel. What did you guys do before coming to Evangel?
So prior to Evangel, when we first were married, we went to South Dakota, and we were youth pastors for 6.5 years, and then we moved to be district youth, children's and CE directors for 8 years in South Dakota. From there, we moved here to Springfield for Mark to work at the national office, the Assemblies of God National Office, and he was the National Children's Ministries Director. And I think he was there for about 11 years, and so in July is when we came here.
That's so cool. So you guys have done a lot of work with kids, because you said you guys were youth pastors and like teenagers. And I'm assuming you live in the real world, so you've been with adults, but how has it been acclimating to a college campus? Because it's sort of that in-between between teen and adult, where there's just like a whole mix of people. So what's that been like?
Honestly, it's been amazing. We just love it. We love it. We've been in student ministry before, and we have a 16-year-old and a 21-year-old, so we have some experience with young people, especially young adults, but it's not been that different, and we actually have really loved the transition.
That is so cool. Can you tell us what it's like being the wife of the Vice President for Student Development?
Well, for one, I don't have to do the work of the Vice President of Student Development, so that part's great. I just get to enjoy being on campus, being with all the students, and being at the events. So it's really been great.
I love that, because I've seen you everywhere on campus, and it's really cool seeing the adults. So it's cool seeing your husband, who works here, interact with us, but then it's also really cool having you work with us. What drives you to interact with the students? Why do you want to have a connection with them? Because technically, you don't need to have a connection with us, but you obviously do.
I do. Mark and I have always, throughout our marriage, throughout our ministry, have worked as a team. Okay. And this is no different. Mm-hmm. I have a deep desire to invest in students and make sure that, the students know that I care, that I pray for them, that I want to cheer them on and help them in that really developing and finding out what God has for their lives, because He does have a plan for their lives. So that's so exciting.
Okay. I love seeing it. And so you don't work here, you're so involved, and you're actually leading an event here later today. Yes. Can you tell us what that is, and what should we expect about it when we show up?
Okay, so this was Mark's brainchild. So last semester we visited the dorms and did root beer floats and popcorn. This semester is Cocoa with Christy. And so we are bringing our dog Charlie, who is a 12-pound Yorkie poo. He's a sweet little guy. And we are going to meet in the quad under Carl the Clock Tower for Cocoa with Christy. We'll have a churro truck and mini donuts, and you'll get a ticket, I believe, that you can choose which one you want, a churro or mini donuts. And we'll have a gourmet cocoa bar with a bunch of toppings and just really spend time together. Mark got me a sweatshirt that says free mom hugs. So if that's not too weird for you, that is what I've got ready for you.
That's so exciting. How long has this been in the works? You said it was sort of Mark's brainchild, so he's been planning it for a while. How long has this been an idea?
When we first started, or when he first started, we just wanted to find a way that we can get to know the students in a better way, and just try to find something each semester that might allow an opportunity for us to be in your world.
That's so cool. What can we expect from you for future events?
I mean, I'm all in. The hardest part for me is just trying to find a good balance with family and work, and making sure our kids feel that they're just as important. But with that in mind, we've got a calendar full of athletic events. We've got, one acts this Saturday night, theater, anything. Whatever's on the calendar, we're gonna try and make it to and cheer on those women's and men's basketball teams, the tennis, the softball, baseball. Golf, have had a harder time trying to figure that one out, but we'll get it all figured out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us again today, Christy.
My pleasure.
Let's go back to the desk with Raylan and Cameron.
Thanks, Summer. So Cameron, what can we expect this upcoming week with all the rain we've been experiencing?
Well, we've been experiencing some rain, but it looks like we could see some snow coming up in the forecast. But I'll talk more about that with the full forecast.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
My kids put skis on as they were learning to walk. I want my kids to be able to have those moments with their kids. Being a scientist, I'm worried about climate change in so many different ways for my kids. From the second you have a child, you want to do everything to protect them. I think our action on climate change is no different. It's just an extension of being a mom.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Class, today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
4 people are in the hospital after a fire started from a battery aboard in a United Airlines flight. The flight bound for Newark returned to San Diego this past Tuesday. The flight crew were able to prevent the fire from spreading and were also reported among those that had to go to the hospital. 2 other passengers were evaluated on site but declined further treatment.
What a heroic thing for those airline employees to do.
Agreed, especially considering that they were the ones that ended up having to go to the hospital because they were hurt. It's now time to look at the weather. Cameron, what's it looking like this week?
Well, thankfully, it's not looking any more rainy earlier in the week, but later in the week, we can expect that. Currently outside, breezy, 36 degrees. Those winds are about 6 miles per hour, but later today, it's only going to pick up from there. We're looking at 18-mile-per-hour winds and around 51 degrees as our high today. So it is going to be a little bit warmer, but that wind is just going to bring that temperature right back down. But going into tonight, it's going to cool off even more. 34 degrees is our low today, but the winds do slow down just a bit, going from that 18-mile-per-hour wind to that 15-mile-per-hour wind. If we take a look at our almanac, currently we know 51 degrees, the average temperature about 60. The record temperature for this time is 76 degrees, so we are significantly colder than the record temperature that we've had so far. But what I want to focus on is the record low being 51 degrees, but our low for today being 34 degrees, meaning we broke that record low, and we'll probably see that coming up. Precipitation 0.8%. It's not going to rain a whole lot today. We don't have any real precipitation to worry about. Just those winds is all we're really focusing on. We can see a little bit of precipitation moving up along here, and right through here you can see that little shade of blue. That's actually snow that we're probably going to end up seeing tomorrow, maybe tomorrow night. And we can see that looking at our radar because we can see all of that precipitation moving up along through here. Right here, that little blue and purple dot is that snow that we were talking about earlier. So you can see that it's going to touch us a bit, but probably nothing too major. Missouri temperatures right now, 53 degrees. Kansas City's 42, so we're significantly warmer than Kansas City, thankfully. Columbia, 47, but all around there, right at low 50s, high 40s. Our national forecast, here's all that precipitation that we saw on our radar. All of it's coming through here. We've got some severe thunderstorms, just some rain through here. Here's that snow. So there's a lot of snow coming up through here, and it's just going to slightly come across us. We won't probably see much. And we could see that in our 6-day forecast. If we take a look at Friday, some snow showers. So we can see some snow coming in tomorrow, probably more in the morning. It'll fuse out by tomorrow night. Our warmest day of the week, it's going to be Sunday and Wednesday at 58 degrees. Mostly sunny on those days as well. So we get some sun coming in with some warmer weather, but nothing too fancy because it's just going to cool back down. Our lowest for this week, 20 degrees on Friday when we're expecting that snow. So obviously nothing warm, but obviously nothing cold either. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cameron. Just around the corner, Emmeline Perkins will be here to give us the latest in sports.
And Hong Kong has a plan to bring in those tourists. Stay with us.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Hong Kong's government has announced plans to give away 500,000 free airline tickets as part of efforts to revive its tourism industry and attract visitors back to the city. The Hello Hong Kong initiative was unveiled last Thursday, but has been in the works for over 2 years. Tickets will be spread out among the city's 3 airlines: flag carrier Cathay Pacific, HK Express, and Hong Kong Airlines. The 500,000 tickets cost the city about $254.8 million in total.
Well, I might have to see if I can get myself one of those tickets.
I might have to, too. Let's go to sports. Standing by is Emmeline Perkins.
Thanks, Raylan. The Valor's men's basketball team was ranked 24th in the NAIA Top 25 Coaches Poll last night. The men's basketball team currently has a record of 19-5. Since the last poll, the men's basketball team has gone 2-2, losing to both Graceland and Baker, but winning against Benedictine and Culver Stockton. The next men's basketball game is this Saturday at home against Grandview, with tip-off being at 2 p.m. Due to poor field conditions, the Evangel baseball games this weekend have been rescheduled and relocated. The games will now take place tonight and Saturday afternoon at Cedar Ridge Fields in Branson, Missouri. First pitch will be tonight at 6 p.m. and Saturday at noon. The Evangel softball team will kick off their season at Avila, Missouri against the Avila Eagles this Friday at 1 p.m. Georgia University football recruiting is at an elite level. Being 2-time national championship, the program doesn't spare any cost. This past year, the program spent $4.5 million on recruiting alone. That's more than 1/3 of the money spent at other schools. Texas A&M spends around $2.98 million, and the University of Tennessee spends $2.92 million. The money covers costs like travel, lodging, and meals for both staff and recruits. For the first time in 30 years, the nationally ranked #4 University of Connecticut Huskies women's basketball team loses 2 times in a row. First to nationally ranked #1 South Carolina Gamecocks with a score of 81-77, and then the Marquette Golden Eagles with 259-52. The team is currently dealing with a lot of injuries, so they are only able to play around 6 to 7 players per game. The Huskies' next game is this Saturday, February 11th at 4 p.m. against Georgetown University. Back to you guys.
Thanks. It's so exciting how our men's basketball team was ranked 24th out of the top 25.
I know, I'm very proud of them. Up next, a man who has a special relationship with the Super Bowl. Stay with us.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that I would never be able to get over it and that my kids wouldn't have a father. I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. For the longest time, fear held me back from ultimately being who I wanted to. I had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
Thank you. Did you see anyone's broccoli? Thanks for helping us. No problem.
You're welcome.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
You may consider yourself a football fan, but you're likely a far shot from Don Chrisman. Chrisman is an 86-year-old man from Maine who will be attending his 57th Super Bowl, meaning he has never missed a single Super Bowl. Although there were a few close calls as he was going to stop after the 50th Super Bowl. But as a die-hard Patriots fan, when they made it to Super Bowl 51, he knew he had to keep attending and has no intentions of stopping anytime soon.
Well, he clearly loves football more than I do.
He really does love it, and I'm just jealous that he's been to every single Super Bowl, and I'll likely never make it to a Super Bowl. Cameron, what's the weather going to be looking like over in Arizona for the Super Bowl?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I am a big football fan, so I'm excited for that game coming up. But looking at the weather for Arizona, Phoenix is looking to have a high of around 71 at around 3 or 4 p.m. So it's going to be nice and warm, sunny, ready for the game. But here, we're looking at some pretty cool temperatures. I mean, our lowest being 20 degrees tomorrow when we're expecting snow. So it's going to be cold tomorrow, but it's going to warm up 58 degrees on Sunday and Wednesday, so we can expect some warmer weather as well. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cameron. That's all for us today. I'm Raylan Lakatos.
And I'm Summer Rottershot. This has been Newswatch Today. Please join us next week. For more about EU TV and the latest Evangel news, go to euvalormedia.com.
See you next time.